So this past weekend, my son and I, he's 15, we had a 22-hour round trip. We went to see Dave Matthews Band. I'm a big fan. At the Gorge in George, and it was about a 10 or 11 hour drive. It was a great time, great experience, beautiful venue. But I noticed that there was a period of time where, while we were driving, that we were both pretty quiet. And of course, as a dad, I understand that those moments of being one-on-one with my kids, and specifically my oldest son, for an extended period of time are going to be far and few between. So I kind of felt like we need to be talking. But I asked him, I said, "It's so quiet in here. What are you thinking about?" And, he asked me, he's like, "I don't know, what are you thinking about?" And it was funny because I realized that when you're driving, at least for me and him, we both get kind of lost in train of thought. The radio wasn't really playing, and it was just kind of quiet in the car. And I'm on another, 3 or 4 hour drive right now, and I had caught myself doing the same thing. Anyways, I asked my son, I said, "What are you thinking about?" And he said, "Oh, he's trying to buy a car, so he was thinking about his 1997 Jeep Cherokee that he wants to buy. And he's really excited about it, trying to find one that's affordable." Then he's thinking about skiing. He's a big skier. He competes at a high level, and thinking about his goals for this winter. And he asked me what I was thinking, and I said, honestly, I'm thinking about how undisciplined I am, and how I do a lot of things to appear disciplined, but it's really all a facade. I always tease my wife and I, we have a joke, we call a facade a facade, just to sound silly, I guess, but it's all a facade, because I'll get up, I go work out most days. I'm usually doing some sort of lifting or running. I try to, as much as I think to, I guess, read daily almost. And I really only read like maybe 3 to 5 pages, nothing too in depth. With my work, I'll look over reports and numbers just enough to know what needs to be improved. I feel like I'm like fake disciplined, or I'm good enough disciplined, if that even makes sense. And I feel like good enough disciplined really isn't good enough for who I want to be, who we all should want to be. We should all want to be, a better version of ourselves, the best version of ourselves. And I have a friend who was a professional athlete in the NFL for 13 years, and he said something to me. He said, "Good is the worst enemy of the best." And being disciplined good enough is actually probably the worst kind of discipline, because it's fake. And I should read 10 pages a day, and maybe even take notes while I'm reading it, so that I can really retain what I'm reading. For me, at least, I don't really read fiction books. I read primarily business related, history related, religious related books. I feel like those things are of my most interest, and or can provide some sort of education for myself to help me grow and learn. But how much of that am I actually learning, and how much am I reading it just to read a page number, or am I reading it to actually learn and kind of soak in the information? What can I do to be better? Well, the better version of that is taking notes a little bit. Working out. Do I work out? When I work out, am I just barely lifting, or am I lifting intentionally? When I run, am I pushing myself, or am I just jogging just to get through? And anyways, I was telling my son, I find that a lot of times, most of the time, I appear to be doing the things, but I'm not pushing it to the level in which it really truly benefits me. It's just a surface benefit. And I find myself getting stuck in that trap of, oh, I checked the box, but not really going deeper. Or I was telling my son, my son, he wants to play baseball in high school. And I said, when you come home, you do your chores, but do you really do your chores? Or is it more of like, I do it enough for mom to take a look at it, or for myself to take a look at it, and you get the check mark, you get the check box, and then you can go out and play, and then you go play with your friends for 3 hours. Well, what are you doing now so that you can make the baseball team? What are you doing now so that you can be better at your skiing competitions this next season? Because by the time the season starts in November, December, and by the time baseball tryouts start in February, if you start worrying about it then, it's already too late. You got to be doing now. You got to do the preparation and the work now so that it pays off when it comes time to actually participate in those things. And, for school, these kids nowadays, the school system's crazy. They have like 3 months to make up their work. But it's like, why not just do it now so you don't have the stress later? Anyways, or when you go out, instead of playing with your friends for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, take 30 minutes, put the baseball on a tee, and put it in a different spot on the plate, and take your cuts hitting into the net. 10 minutes in each spot. That's th minutes. Do that every day. All of a sudden, you build the muscle memory to really hit the ball good. Take 10 minutes and read a book. He hates reading. Take 10 minutes and read something that interests you. Or do some stretches, do some flips on the trampoline so you can get better with your skiing. Instead of spending 3 hours running around with friends. I want you to go play with your friends, but maybe take an hour. Take 30 minutes for baseball, 30 minutes for skiing. Whatever it might be. Anyways, so it was actually a good conversation with him. And I was glad that, it may not have been like the fun talk, I guess, that dads have with the kids, but with their sons, but I feel like it was a good talk, and it really was. I think it was great for me to be vulnerable with him and show him that there's things that I could be doing way better. I could take my discipline to the next level, so that it's not just good enough, but that it's at its best, So, anyways, it was a really great talk, and we had a great time together. And I just thought I should share that with you guys because, while I'm driving, maybe I'll call this segment Car Thoughts, because when I'm driving, I feel like that's when I am reflecting the most, of thinking the most of how I can improve myself, my businesses, my family, myself as a husband, myself as a business owner, myself as a person, as a man. What can I be better at? And good enough discipline is not good enough. Those are my thoughts.